know I had a whole biggest mistakes video, but let's just face it, we need some help with the actual planning. Like, okay, Steph, break it down for me. What do I need to do to make planning a Walt Disney World vacation like less overwhelming? When it comes to Walt Disney World tickets, you have a few choices. The base ticket is not going to allow you to hop between parks, but it is going to get you one park per day. And if you've never been here, it's a great way to save some money. You just commit that you're at this one park for this one day each day, and it can save you a little bit of bucks. And let me tell you, there's so much to do in each one of these parks that if you haven't been and you haven't been here in a long time, it's all you're gonna need. That said, if you're trying to do only a couple things or a few things in each park and you have a shorter time span in your calendar that you're coming to Walt Disney World, then doing a park hopper ticket for like 3 days to bounce between a few parks and just kind of get tastes of each thing, that could be a way to go. Now, prices can really vary on the season, but on average, you're looking at around $109 to $189 per adult, depending on the time of year. Now remember, kids under 3 get in free. Traveling during peak seasons like summer or the holidays, expect prices to be on the higher end. If you can visit January, early May, September, even February or early March, early October, those are going to be some of the lowest prices you can find. My tip: buy your tickets in advance, and then make sure that you always link them to your My Disney Experience app. A lot of times it does it automatically, but just in case, make sure they're linked. And if you haven't done that before, we'll break down later how to set up a My Disney Experience account. So definitely stay tuned to the page, because I'm going to do a whole My Disney Experience vlog and just break down every little detail of this app. Disney World hotels fall into 3 main categories. There's going to be value, moderate, and deluxe. There's going to be different levels inside of these hotels as well, so just hang out with me for a second, because we're going to break down what that means too. Value resorts such as like All-Star Movies, All-Star Sports, and All-Star Music, those are going to be usually the least expensive that you can find here at Walt Disney World, whereas like value resorts like Pop Century and Art of Animation are going to be in the higher end of that value category as far as pricing goes, because they are a Skyliner resort. And if you haven't seen my Walt Disney World like transportation and, you know, familiarizing yourself with the whole layout of the property, take a look at this video up in the card above, because I really show all the different forms of transportation, including talking about some of those Skyliner resorts. On average, the value resorts run between like $150 to $250 a night, but you can find some lower rates like $120, even some specials where it's like, you know, 20-30% off in advance, even some like ticketing and hotel packages that are going to give you a better discount and save you some money, but a lot of times it requires booking in advance. Moderate resorts like Caribbean Beach or Port Orleans, like Riverside and French Quarter, those are going to run somewhere between $280 and $400 a night. Now, a lot of people are like, why would I spend that much more money to stay at a different resort? Well, your amenities are going to be slightly better, but it's also their proximity. The value resorts tend to be further away. That said, if you're thinking something like Coronado Springs or the Grand Destino Tower at Coronado Springs, they're not too far different as far as location goes from the All-Star resorts, but that tower feels like a deluxe resort. Like, look at this room. It is so freaking pretty. You can get some insane views even with a standard view room, like not even a water view room. If you have a standard view, you're actually facing out towards parks, and I've had some really great views from here. If you want something that is a moderate, but it feels more deluxe, it feels more elevated, it feels really beautiful and luxurious, then that Grand Destino Tower might be for you. But in general, the moderate resorts, Caribbean Beach is going to be pretty centrally located. It's very close to EPCOT, and that means that it's going to be, you know, a lot easier to get around to the different parks. You have Skyliner transportation to both EPCOT and Hollywood Studios, as well as bus transportation, and that bus transportation will also take you to Disney's Magic Kingdom and Disney's Animal Kingdom. Some locations like Port Orleans, Riverside, and French Quarter are super close to Disney Springs, so they're going to be a little bit further out in the property, but I did do some research, and Disney Springs is right next to Saratoga, so while I haven't mapped the actual timing from the Port Orleans resorts, Saratoga Springs is right next to those, and it's right next to Disney Springs. You could totally walk to it. It takes like 5 minutes. So if you want an extra location to go shopping and get food, you might want to keep that on your radar. But given that those 3 resorts are very close, I can tell you it took me like altogether maybe 20 minutes to get to Magic Kingdom. I mean, keeping in mind that I was waiting for a bus to arrive and then waiting for that bus to leave and then commuting with that bus. So even though you're further out, like closer to Disney Springs, which is the opposite end of like the 27,000 acre property that is Walt Disney World, it really was pretty darn efficient getting around the property. The last category is going to be those deluxe resorts. Now think monorail resorts, or the resorts that are right there within walking distance of Disney's EPCOT theme park. I mean, these resorts run anywhere from $550 to $900 plus per night during peak times. And it's just, I mean, they're absolutely gorgeous. And there's nothing better than being able to walk to a theme park or get on that like perfectly nostalgic monorail and going just straight to the park that you're looking at. Me personally, I love the EPCOT resorts because again, they're central to the property and it's just a lot more efficient to get around. But those resorts like Disney's Grand Floridian and Polynesian and the Contemporary, Beach Club, Yacht Club, Boardwalk, all of those resorts, Animal Kingdom Lodge, those are all going to be your deluxe resorts. The season that you're traveling in is going to matter. If you are going to be traveling during spring break, like winter holiday breaks right there next to Thanksgiving, or even like in the main dates for summer breaks that schools are out, like those are going to be the most expensive times of the year, which is why I listed the other months as being times when the prices are lower, because they are trying to get people on property, so they're going to decrease prices because supply and demand. Obviously, there is a lower demand, so prices are lower. But a side note about those peak seasons, crowd level. If you want to be able to take a vacation and maybe you don't need to think about a calendar with school stuff or, you know, holidays for your work schedule and you have more flexibility, then being able to come to these parks in September or February or January after the holiday season has ebbed and, you know, maybe early May, things like that, like the crowd level is going to be a lot lower, which means the wait times are going to be lower, which could also save your money because you're not buying into the Lightning Lane system that is trying to help you save some money. We'll talk about that in a second. But there's a whole bunch of best practices, and I'll break down the best practices at the very end in a simple like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So make sure that you stay tuned to the very end for that. These parks are amazing, and one of the biggest things that I see people do is just not plan. So if you are not a planner-minded person, I really highly encourage that you work with a travel agent when it comes to this. You may love planning, but please consider working with a travel agent because they know this stuff in and out. They know how to help you get the experiences, how to recommend the best hotel for your budget. And say you have a budget of $8,000, which seems like a crazy amount of money, right? Okay, but if your budget is $8,000 and you're thinking, I can spend a week at Disney World and I can stay at a deluxe resort and it's a family of 4 and that's going to cover our food and our flights and everything, probably not. Probably not. Do some research, take a look at the flights. The flights themselves could be super expensive, and with those resorts, you know, being on average like say $700 or $800 a night, that's going to add up super fast. Like obviously that's going to take the bulk of that cost right there, and then your tickets being, you know, anywhere from $110, which I've usually seen the average price like $130 to $160, but if it can go between $110 and $189, then I mean if you take that $150 or $160 per person over those 5 days, like that's crazy pants. And between Lightning Lanes, food costs, pictures, like all of these littles add up, and I want to make sure that you're aware of all of those costs. So if you haven't seen my biggest mistakes video, definitely check that out because I really talk about some of those extra costs that add up and how you can avoid that. Best practices. I'm not going to count working with a travel agent, although it is. I just feel like that's a bonus because I feel like everyone should, because we have enough to think about. Why don't you hire a professional that you don't have to pay, that Disney will pay, who will take care of planning all that for you? And if you're looking for a fabulous one, I have his name and his information down in my description bar. Tip number 1, oh my gosh, please start early. please start early. I recommend that you start planning your vacation at minimum 6 months out, if not 9 months prior to when you want to go. And I know that may sound like a crazy amount of time before, like why would I look into that so early? But that's because there's a lot of nuances to planning this trip. There's not just your transportation getting down here, but your transportation to and from the airport and what hotel you're staying at, and you know what kind of tickets you want and what you guys want to experience. Because like, what if you're going to come down here for 5 days and you know you want to double up on a park and maybe skip a different one? Like you might be missing out on some really cool stuff. I had someone who really wanted to skip out on EPCOT. She didn't think it was going to be worth it. And then when I was like, well, but you are going to be here during Flower and Garden Festival, so maybe take a look at this festival and see if it's something you'd want to look at. And then she looked at the site and she was like, oh yeah, no, I don't want to miss that. So make sure that you work with a professional who can remind you of special events or special things that are going on at these various parks so that you really don't miss something, because it would be really, really crappy if you got back from your vacation and was like, I didn't do that thing. I didn't even know that thing was going on. All of these extra experiences like building a lightsaber or building droids or, you know, going on a behind the scenes tour or a Keys to the Kingdom tour, all of these extra activities you can book early. And dining is a really big one of those. A lot of people like to book these character dining experiences, which are really, like, they're so much fun. They're so cute. And they usually give a card that's like signed by the characters, and they all come around to your table and you get all these great photo ops, and it's so special. But those things book out super fast. Like you want to be on that and know exactly what you're booking at like 6 a.m. the morning your booking window opens, which is 60 days prior to your check-in date. That's 2 months. So like 6 months gives you some time to kind of flex with your different ideas and get information back and forth. And, you know, what if you're booking over like a big holiday period? It's going to take longer to get the communication between you and your agent back and forth. So, you know, giving yourself more time than less is going to ensure that you really make the most of every dollar that you're investing into this vacation. Also, make sure that you plan your park days wisely. But these parks are going to be more busy over the weekend because not only do you have people who are visiting, enjoying these incredible parks, but you have people who are local who are going into the parks because, you know, they're not working, their kids aren't in school, you name it. Just know though that Magic Kingdom is very likely always going to be the busiest park here on property because it is the most popular park on property. Now, if you're not sure which parks are going to be more busy on what days, sure, absolutely do some research for yourself and take a look. But again, just hire a professional who you won't have to pay. Use Disney Genie. Again, I'm going to have a full breakdown of the My Disney Experience app, but sincerely, like, use Disney Genie, which is an itinerary builder for how you want to experience the park. So you can go in here, you can select like princesses, Star Wars, villains, like you name it. You can select different intellectual properties and different like themes inside of Disney that you love, and it'll help you prioritize those things through its recommendations. Also, if your budget allows it, consider Lightning Lanes. Now, Lightning Lane is going to be a shorter line because you have to buy into it in order to wait, and a lot of people don't want to spend the extra money, so just by the nature of it, there isn't going to be as many people in that line. Now, what that means is, while it's an extra cost for you, you do have an opportunity to save yourself some time, and time is the one thing that we can't get back. There's going to be some different categories. You're going to have an attraction, at least one at each park, that is going to be like the super popular one, and you have to buy into a single Lightning Lane pass to acquire a shortened line for that. So that's going to be like Rise of the Resistance, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Guardians of the Galaxy at EPCOT, and a Flight of Passage over at Animal Kingdom. And that's because those are just like so incredibly popular, they gate them behind a separate ticket. I know. But you can buy into basically all of the other attractions at these parks. And what this means is 7 days prior to your check-in date at your hotel, you can pick 3 different attractions that you're going to visit on your first day. So you could select like, say, Jungle Cruise, and then you could do like Mickey's PhilharMagic and Haunted Mansion. And that at least gets you set up with 3 attractions like right out the gate when you get to the resort. And then once you've tapped into one of the Lightning Lane kiosks, then you'll be able to book a follow-up attraction. And what I mean by booking is it gives you a return time. It says, okay, between this time and this time, you come back to this attraction and check in, and you wait in that shorter line. Now, some people don't think this is necessary for EPCOT. I would agree most of the time it's not, and I definitely would agree that most of the time it's not necessary for Disney's Animal Kingdom either. I do highly recommend it, or at least really encourage you to look into it, especially if you're going to be here in the busy season for Magic Kingdom and for Hollywood Studios, because it's going to be really difficult for you to experience all the different things that you want to experience if you have to wait in a line that's going to take you an hour and a half to get through, because now you've lost so much time in your day. Take a rest day. Sit down, kick back, relax. Because seriously, it is so busy. I'm not kidding. Please plan a rest day. Like, I've done it myself. I've done it myself on numerous occasions, even when I built in a rest day, because I'm the planner in the family who's spending all this time on my phone trying to book the next Lightning Lane, and where are we going to go? Oh, I need to pre-order our mobile order for food, and I need to, like, no. Your brain is going nonstop. You're trying to figure out what you need, what your friend needs, or if it's just you, that's freaking phenomenal. Please do a solo trip. But in reality, we're usually, more often than not, traveling with other people, be it friends or our immediate family members. And there's a lot of like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Where are we going? How are we doing that? Oh, we need to go over here. Oh, we need to go over here. And it's back and forth. And it's a lot of walking. It's really busy. And if you're walking 3 to 5 miles easily on your park day, and then you get up again and you do it again, and then you get up again and you do it again, like, oh my gosh. You just need, not only does your body need the respite, your brain is like, please just turn off. This was supposed to be a vacation, and I don't want to operate today. But truly, just build in a rest day to get your body some downtime, to get your brain some downtime, kick back. If you're not a pool person, then just go slow, sleep in, order some breakfast in, or go downstairs and get something when you're ready. And then if you really feel like it, go to Disney Springs and only walk around a little bit, try some food, sit down, relax, luxuriate like for hours on end at a table, just enjoying some fun bites and some good sips. I promise that if you do that, you're going to enjoy yourself better. You're not going to be getting grouchier and grouchier as the days goes on because you're tired and you're worn out and you're exhausted and you're so freaking hot and sweaty. Please. Okay, I'm done with my rant. Last, but definitely not least, really know your budget. Really look into those costs. Again, take a look at my biggest mistakes video because I really break down some of the numbers. Understand what those tickets are going to cost, what your hotel is going to cost, what your flight is going to cost, your transportation to and from the airport to your hotel. You need to understand all of this. If you want pictures, if you don't want pictures, factor in for souvenirs. Please factor in for souvenirs. A lot of times if people are like, I'm trying to cut back, we'll just not buy souvenirs. It doesn't often work. You get here and you see the cute thing and you think to yourself, I only brought a fanny pack and that fanny pack doesn't hold enough. So I guess I will buy this here Loungefly because it'll hold more. And it's a very valid point. But by the same token, if you don't allot for that, the next thing you know, you've overshot your budget like mad. And you don't want to have all this regret because you can't take a trip as soon as you want to because, well, you've spent too much money and now you have to fix it. And one thing you can do about that, if you really want to have some fun with souvenirs and maybe you want to get more bang for your buck, if you're renting a car or maybe get a lift, either way, get yourself over to the Character Warehouse. It's not far from Disney property and there's a lot of things on discount there. They have Loungeflies and spirit jerseys and homewares and toys and all kinds of things. If you're coming down with kiddos, maybe go there first or go there on your rest day and designate that as like something you're doing on your rest day when you're walking around like, nope, we're not getting souvenirs here. We're going to go on this day, because then you can find some stuff that's at a decreased cost. You can get more bang for your buck, maybe get more items, or maybe just seriously cut back on that part of your budget. Could you save some money by staying off-site? It's possible. But if you're renting a car, that's going to be an added cost, so make sure that the car rental does not completely like offset what you're spending on, say, an Airbnb or something, because then you might as well have just stayed on property and not had to think about the gas in that vehicle, picking it up, dropping it off, and all that could go with that. It's really nice when you can stay on site. You're in that vacation bubble. It's like nothing else exists. You know that there's a whole other city out there called Orlando and oceans on either side of this year's state, but you don't feel that. When you're staying on property, you cross under that Walt Disney World gate and it's like that's all that exists. And it's glorious. It's just so lovely. Other bonus tip, make sure that you look into some different packing recommendations. I have my own. I think I'm actually going to create that as a whole separate video, but in short, like the big things to remember: sunblock, an umbrella. Mine is actually a UV umbrella, so it has like a dual purpose, which I love, and this thing is like smaller than my face. You know what I mean? Like, it's perfect. Now, it's not that big, it won't cover numerous people, but it can sit right here on the side of my Loungefly, and it's super awesome. Also, a power bank for reals. Now, here at Disney, you can get things called fuel rods, and these fuel rods can be interchanged. Now, if you want to carry something like that, I highly recommend, but just know that if you do have to get one because maybe you forgot, or you didn't bring a cable, or your power bank somehow didn't charge, or whatever it is, you can get fuel rods here, and then you can replace them at no additional charge, which is super awesome. If you're not going to have an umbrella, then definitely consider ponchos. Always bring 2 pairs of shoes. Always bring 2 pairs of shoes. I can't even tell you, there's one trip I did down before we moved, and I was like, I've never ended up using the second pair of shoes that I bought. I'm just going to bring one and save myself the space. I've been wise the whole time, brought 2 pairs. I'm not doing it this time. That's the time I needed it. You want to know why? Because a hurricane came through. No. It wasn't the hurricane that actually caused the weather. Magically, it was 2 days later. That was a trip in which there was a torrential downpour that no poncho or like umbrella was going to save me from, and it actually ruined my shoes. The whole insert came out. It was a whole mess. So please bring 2 pairs of shoes, because if something happens and they get soaked, they're not drying for the next day. It's too humid here, and there's just not enough time. So then you always have a backup pair of shoes. Also, I always packed extra socks. Like, I always, like, if we were going to travel for a week, I always brought like half again, like bonus socks for everybody, because if something happens and you have those days when your feet are wet, you're going to run through those socks, or maybe you just want to change socks, or you want to keep a change of socks in your backpack in case you're going to go on water rides, and then you want to be able to cycle that out, because when your feet get wet, they get softer, you get blisters so much faster, and it's really not fun. Magic bands, a lot of people talk about them. You can totally get them. It's great. It's connected to the My Disney Experience app. That means you have a form of payment on it. It means that you have access to your park and to your lightning lanes, and that's freaking fabulous to just be like, clink, oh yay. But the thing is it's not always necessary, and a lot of people, myself included, have stopped using them because it just it feels like it's hot and sweaty underneath my wrist, so I just don't want to use it anymore. I actually use my phone. I use the wallet feature that has my annual pass in it. That's where your tickets would be as well, but you can also access them through the app. But Magic Mobile allows you to get into your room, and you can still use a lot of those same features without having something else on your wrist. You can also use it through your Apple Watch or smartwatch. So do I find them necessary? No, but a lot of people really like them for the convenience. But just remember, that's again an additional charge, but you can order those in advance of your vacation and already have them and just add them into your packing, so you don't have to get it when you get them here and then they're all set up and they're ready to go like for your first day at the parks. Just make sure that you order those at least 2 weeks prior to your vacation, because after that there's a cutoff and they can't send them to you anymore. If you're looking to save a little bit of money, bring snacks. I bring snacks. I bring water bottles. Now I live here, so it's a little bit different. When we traveled, we didn't always bring snacks. And that was because we were like, I'm on vacation. I don't want to have to think about it. I'm going to factor it into my budget. But if you're looking to be able to come down and maybe you do want to stay at that nicer moderate resort, but you need to cut back somewhere else, then as I've recommended before, you can do like off-peak dining where you can dine at like 11 or 11:30 and then like at 5 or 5:30, and those are your 2 big meals, but you have snacks in between. So like maybe you have a banana and or a protein bar for breakfast, and then you have a big meal at around 11, and then you have a snack in between, and then you have your dinner. That way you're not having like 3 big meals plus snacks. I mean, I bring those. I bring protein bars. When we bring the kids into the parks, we do the same thing. We fill their water bottles, we carry those, and we bring snacks with us. You can also get popcorn buckets. Yes, they're an investment at first, but you get a discounted cost for your popcorn after that, and it's a very like cheap snack to keep with you. If you can't pack that much stuff in your suitcases, maybe because you're flying, then just know that you can do Amazon Fresh orders, you can do Amazon delivery orders, you can do Instacart delivery orders. There's also grocery stores not too far away if you want to make the hike yourself. So you can have things delivered if there's things that you need or if there's snacks that you want to have. Plus, there's a lot of rooms here, primarily at the DVZ resorts, which you can book, that have kitchenettes in them and allow you to actually cook meals there. So, I mean, there was one summer we came down where we stayed at a DVC room and we just made breakfast every morning. So we made like a super hefty breakfast and then went into the parks. Also consider things like the refillable resort mugs, because those can save you some money, because you know you pay this outright cost at the fort and it very quickly ends up paying for itself. So definitely consider that as well. So whether you're booking Disney World tickets or maybe you're deciding on what Disney World resort you want to stay in, I hope this information helps you and helps your planning for Walt Disney World vacation a lot easier. And if you like this video, please consider hitting the like button and subscribe for more Disney planning tips. Until next time, friends, I hope you live your version of a brilliant, bold, beautifully empowered life. Cheers.